They showed us a lot in this episode. A lot of what they showed us revolved around progress. Time went by in the opening, at least 8 or 9 months. We saw Kim make progress at her job. We saw Jimmy make progress with the PPD officer. He finally got his cell phone business going. Gus make progress with Hector. We saw Hector make progress, and we saw that the men and Mike have made progress with the lab. Hey, I'm G, and this is the G-Spot. The opening was incredible and communicated so much emotion to us about Jimmy and Kim. Unfortunately, it was kind of a downer. It was a little sad. They showed us this whole sequence with a split screen, and first we see them, really working as a team. We see them splitting toothpaste, we see them splitting wine, and we see them splitting the bed. But as time goes by, the teamwork goes away. Really, we saw the splitting of Jimmy and Kim when they're brushing their teeth. They're not even standing side by side anymore. They're back to back. They are now back to back in the bed also. But when Kim fades away to black, Kim's fading out of Jimmy's life. And the look on Jimmy's face was priceless, was perfect. It just perfectly conveyed that emotion. It seemed like he woke up, he was a little confused, something got lost, and he didn't even realize it was lost. And I do think that's what's happening with Jimmy in this relationship. And the split is coming from them starting to live two really different lives. And their lives are becoming so different that they're not even sharing with each other like they used to. We mentioned that in the last episode, Kim lies to Jimmy and says that she was offered her new banking job. But Kim wasn't offered the job, it was proposed to her. And we see in this episode that Jimmy's hiding a lot of what he's doing from Kim. Secrets are not good in relationships. They definitely cause space and distance. Kim makes a whole lot of progress through the entire episode. She's doing a bang-up job at work. My guess is that she's finished Mesa Verde or almost finished. She had a lot of plaques or awards, one for each bank that she opened. And then we saw that Kim is still making progress as a public defender. So we do see Kim make a lot of progress, but only up to one point. Everybody was making progress in the episode, and we saw some of the things that is required to make progress. Hard work, which we saw Kim doing. We even got to see her with the tennis ball, working out her arm. Another thing that we saw is necessary for progress is compromise. We saw Mike compromise with Werner for him to continue making progress with the lab. And we saw with Gus that sometimes progress requires letting some of your team go, as Gus let the doctor go so that he can continue making progress with Hector. Because to Gus, progress with Hector isn't making Hector 100% healthy. It's so Gus can cause Hector to suffer and gain a larger portion of the drug cartel business. So we saw 3 different things, and we didn't really see any of those things out of Jimmy. We might be able to say that we saw him working. I think it's a real stretch to say Jimmy was working hard. He doesn't even sell his phones on his own time. He leaves CC Mobile and sells his phones on their time. We see when the cop comes up to Jimmy and asks him to move the van, Jimmy is unable to compromise with the police officer. He just starts going off on, "You're harassing me and you're gonna put something in my glove compartment." Jimmy is the one who really escalated that conversation to a heated place. When Jimmy's showing Huell the office and he's saying he's done with the cell phones, that the cell phones were for this, why has he still got Huell with him? Jimmy should have let Huell go. Huell was great, providing security for Jimmy while he sold phones on the streets. But how does Jimmy seeing Huell being part of a legal practice? Why does he even care if Huell's impressed by it? I mean, yes, we know he's part of Saul's practice, but that's a criminal legal practice, and Jimmy has not made this a goal yet. Jimmy has not decided to be a criminal lawyer yet. He is still talking like he is going to be an upstanding legal attorney, and it seems that he still is hoping that Kim is going to be partners with him. And I think that's why we see him measure out the partner's office, and then we see him measure out Kim's office. I think he wanted to maybe try to sell Kim on, "I got a bigger office for you here," but he doesn't. He breaks the news to her for the first time that, yeah, I've been selling drop phones on the street. Kim is really taken back by this. And Jimmy doesn't want to talk about it. He just wants to focus on Huell And Kim even gives him this privilege of saying, okay, I won't ask you any more questions about that, which is really generous of her, until Jimmy brings up engineering a way to bring down a cop. And this literally just knocks the wind out of Kim. She falls back on the couch. I have to think that some kind of permanent thing happened to Kim at this point towards Jimmy. I can't imagine how disappointed she was to hear him say that. I mean, it's like, what's wrong with you, Jimmy? Are you ever going to grow up? And that's exactly her attitude towards him after that. She gets up, she calls Viola about the case history, and then we see Kim like sit down in a power position, and Jimmy's standing there, and he's like, thank you so much, and I appreciate it so much. I mean, there was a big shift in the energy in their relationship in this one interaction. And then when they finish, Jimmy offers his help. She lets him know, I'm not interested in you helping me. And when he leaves and Viola enters, Kim has Viola shut the door on Jimmy. It was really harsh. Jimmy showed Kim a side of him that he's been hiding, and Kim was blown away by it. And Kim really doesn't want any part of that side of Jimmy. When Kim comes out of the courtroom in the end there, and she's talking to Jimmy about, you're going to back me up, right? With Huell, she's asking him to be part of her team. And Jimmy gives her, you know, like a sly kind of slick, like, yeah, okay, maybe. Kim, of course, sees through this, but she can't get Jimmy to say, yeah, I'll back you up. He doesn't want to be part of her team. We do see that Kim is willing to try and help Huell, and we also see that at this point, Kim stops making progress. After this episode where we've seen Kim make so much progress in agreeing to help Jimmy help Huell, she hits a roadblock. When she talks to the prosecutor about Huell's case, she can't budge this prosecutor 1 inch. And Kim was taken by big surprise when this prosecutor showed Kim how other people see Jimmy, calling Jimmy like a scumbag who sells drop phones to criminals. This had a huge effect on Kim. You could see it on her face when she walked out. I don't know if she was just shocked, if she was angry. I gotta be honest, and they did it on purpose. You know, they left us with a big cliffhanger with Kim wondering what she's up to with that shopping cart. And I'm not sure what she's up to or how she even really feels about Jimmy at this point. And the very last thing we get, Kim has a plan, and Kim's plan in all likelihood is gonna work. But she realizes the one thing that could really goof her plan up is Jimmy. She realizes she has to stop Jimmy from impeding her progress. So they definitely showed us a big split between Kim and Jimmy in this episode. I hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to like and share if you did. I do cover Better Call Saul and American Horror Story every week. If you want to make sure that you don't miss out on any of those videos, go ahead, subscribe, ding the bell, and you will be notified every time I upload a video. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.